In the news this week, One Nation appointed young candidate to change the stigma around the controversial party.
Lest we forget, returned and fallen troops acknowledged as thousands turn out for the ANZAC Day commemorations.
Labor MP slams Morrison government, calling preference deal with United Australia Party dodgy.
And we spoke with Harry the veteran who loves to high-five children during the ANZAC Day parade.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Danielle Staniskov.
Good evening. As the federal election draws closer, One Nation has a secret weapon up their sleeve in their focus to attract young voters. One of the youngest One Nation candidates for the Moore electorate hopes to make his voice heard and make a change in politics. Taylor Hannah with this exclusive report.
20-year-old electrical engineering student Tyler Walsh is gunning for a seat in the upcoming election and believes One Nation's policies benefit young people more so than their previous reputation of a controversial party appealing to older generations.
In particular, I guess I had a concern of where Australia was heading for in the future.
With an increased focus on migration, apprenticeships and job opportunities, Mr Walsh has been positively endorsed by fellow One Nation candidates, commending his engagement within the community.
We're focusing on everyone, regardless of whether you're young or old. As I've said, we are a party advocating for everyday Australians.
However, Labor MPs are dismissing the Liberals' proposed dodgy preference deals and urges them to reconsider.
Well, I think young people of Western Australia will see right through Pauline Hanson's nonsense.
One Nation encourages young people to read their policies and to cast their vote towards candidates who share similar values as themselves, rather than politicians who lack a strong voice.
The best thing the people for Moore can do is send Ian Goodenough into retirement and elect young Tyler Walsh.
Taylor Hannah, WAMN News.
Australians have recognised the sacrifice of the nation's troops, joining together to honour them on ANZAC Day. Across Western Australia, many paid homage to fallen and returned soldiers during dawn services throughout the state, with young Australians acknowledging their efforts for the nation. Nelson Liu reports.
WA's youngest generation cheering on the state's ANZAC veterans on a day reminding many about Australian soldiers' sacrifices during the horrors of war.
To me, ANZAC Day is remembering those who lost their life in the war so we can live this great and fantastic life today.
It helps teach them, I suppose, what they did for their country in the time.
It was a different scenario just hours earlier. Tens of thousands of people pausing at WA dawn services to remember troops who didn't make it home.
There's been so much sadness and so much of it happened in this place. And it's important we remember those who lost their lives.
For many, the dawn service is about the sacrifice by young and old Australian soldiers in history, and their ANZAC tradition is continuing today by our current troops.
Modern ANZACs, people who have served in recent conflicts around the world, are just as brave and just as committed and have served in very difficult circumstances.
RSLWA says ANZAC Day has unified Australia.
What ANZAC did for Australia is bring us together as a nation.
And veterans are proud they're there for the next generation.
It's wonderful.
Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
Labor MP Madeleine King has slammed Scott Morrison for proposing a preference deal with Pauline Hanson's One Nation and the United Australia Party. Ms King believes this will backfire for the Liberal Party in the marginal seats. She says Western Australians are smart and know a fake when they see one.
It's a good point that voters have to follow how to vote cards for preference deals to really count. But nonetheless, it sends a very strong message to the people of Australia that Scott Morrison and the Liberals are willing to do deals of some kind with an unhinged, absurdist party that spreads misinformation right around this country.
Homicide Squad detectives are investigating an incident where two offenders alleged entered a home on Guildford Road and confronted four occupants of the residence. On the 26th of April around 1:45 a.m, two offenders alleged entered a home on Guildford Road in Mount Lawley and confronted four occupants of the residence.
That is the primary charge against one of the persons alleged to have gone inside the house. The other person who allegedly entered the house is now dead. Presently, there are no charges against persons who were resident within that home that night, but the investigation is not yet at its end.
In the new initiative by WA Police, Operation Actum has been an efficient act to reduce and curb offences relating to drugs in WA. More than 150 people have been charged with over 450 offences as part of this operation. During that time, local police and detectives across the state executed 108 search warrants, resulting in a seizure of 13.7 kilograms of meth and 14 firearms.
Standing effort from West Australia Police and the police officers in Metropolitan Regional WA. It's grassroots, local police officers in local communities executing search warrants on high harm, high demand addresses of people who affect our people, our community in such a terrible, terrible manner.
Former United States Vice President Joe Biden officially announced that he will be running for the American presidential campaign in 2020. After revealing his campaign launch video, Mr. Biden stated on Twitter that everything that has made America America is at stake. A polling shows that Mr. Biden has gained almost 30% of support from Democratic supporters, 6% more than Senator Bernie Sanders. North Korea leader Kim Jong-un has met with Russian President Vladimir Putin as both countries are looking to strengthen relations. This is the first time Kim meets another foreign leader following his encounter with US President Donald Trump in Vietnam. As North Korea is hoping an increase in aid to make up its food shortages this year, the meeting also provides an opportunity for Russia to present its agendas.
ANZAC Day is about Australia's military veterans, but one of them is keen to connect older troops with young people. WAMN News spotted Harry the veteran during the ANZAC Day march for the second straight year, sharing high fives with spectators, in particular children. He says it was wonderful to be back for this year's parade to share the ANZAC spirit with Australian youths.
I'm very, very proud to be the connection between those that served Australia with honour and courage, and those that are coming along for the future to do the same.
So how's it feel to be back here again?
Yes, yes, it's wonderful.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. You can catch up with all the latest news on our website and Facebook page.
From Daniel, myself and the rest of the team until 8 o'clock next Sunday, a very good evening to you.
Good night.